Yeah, sorry for the break in communication. Uh, I had some issues with my fiber optics, but it's all fixed out now. Yeah, so where were we actually at? Okay, I was telling you about coercion, how virtually every choice you make, you are being coerced to make that choice. It's not from a point of free will. Free will is a fallacy, it's a fantasy. So you need to face reality and understand that yes, there are coercions acting on you that's forcing you to do some things, but these things that are coercing you to do this XYZ, you can still use them to your advantage or understand how they work and understand how you can put yourself in a better position in life by knowing of their existence. You get? So there are four cages actually that coerces people, that forces you to be coerced in your choices. I told you number one is money. Everybody has to feed, everybody has to do one thing or the other. You just survive, and to do all of that, you need to have money. And for you to have money, you need to now partake in labor markets. You need to work for someone or you need to offer a service to people. You get, so it's not like you can just wake up and money will fall. No, you need to do something that will make you have money. And you're being coerced now to work, you get. But everybody has to work. But now you're working out of survival. You're not working because you want to work, but you're working because you have to work. Do you get? So that's one difference. Although that would change once AI becomes mainstream, because Elon Musk was like, human beings would at some point not have to work anymore. Robots will be more efficient at almost everything that human beings currently do. Good. But till then, we have to work for now. So the economic system that runs the world relies on this coercion, this the fact that you have to work before you can eat, you have to work before you can get a house. It relies on this to keep the system going. This is what makes the system to keep on going day by day, because these systems are artificial. Food is abundant in nature, but these systems have been put in place to keep labor continuous. You get? Number two fact that kind of coerces is your community. Your community, like everything around you. Humans are social beings. We don't like being alone. We're not biologically wired to be on our own, which means most of the time you can't actually opt out of what your community wants or expects from you without there being some sort of cost attached to it that will be kind of psychologically unbearable. You get, if you're not doing what the community wants, they can segregate you. That segregation now can affect you. It never can, it will affect you psychologically. You know, it's the more reason why humans tend to agree on things together, even when it's not favorable to everybody. But so far as those that are against it are not as much as those that are supporting it, those that are against it will eventually like collapse into accepting it. That collapse now is them being coerced into doing something. That's what the collapse is. They were being coerced into accepting something, accepting to do something that is not favorable to them, but it aligns with what people in the community want them to do. You get? For example, now I might give an example of even your upbringing. Your family might want you to get married, get married, get married. I want to have my grandbaby, my grandchildren, this and that. But you know, it's up to you. You know, you're not ready, but your first are kind of coercing you to start working towards getting married. And community wants you to follow suit, because community has said that that's how life is meant to be. You grow up, you get a job, then you get married, then you procreate, you get old, you feather away, then you die eventually. Your child continues the same cycle, same thing on and on and on. You can rebel against what they're trying to coerce you into doing, but it will definitely cause isolation. to definitely cause isolation. And most human beings would rather choose belonging over freedom, because isolation actually breaks humans. Isolation makes humans to not function properly. When a person is isolated, mental issues, depression, so many negative vices start popping up due to isolation. So your mom now is naturally forcing you to get married, but she's applying pressure to you, and that pressure over the time becomes kind of like internalized. You know, you start wanting what she wants because you've been shaped to want it. That is coercion that's kind of invisible. There's nobody beating you to marry, but they are kind of coercing you to marry. You know, so that is one cage that actually holds people down. Aside money, community also too. You know, and that one is information. Information is very key. Information is key actually. Information is key, and most people don't know that you can only choose what you are aware exists. It's only what you are aware of that you can even think or even conceive in your mind or even crave. You can't crave what you don't know, what you've not seen, what you've not experienced. You know, if you've never heard of remote work, you won't even think of building a business around working remote. You only be thinking of businesses that involve you going to the physical place every day. You know, information is very, very important. The information available to you is determined by where you are born, who your parents are, and the network you have access to. Where you are born plays a very, very key role in determining the kind of information they're going to have access to. Then the kind of parents you have, you know, plays a role also too, because parents of two types. There are parents that are the rich type, and there are parents that are the poor type. The rich types of parents, now their children will be hearing conversations about investment, you know, things that make them feel like they have too many choices to choose from. It gives them this sense of freedom of choice. So they can easily choose from multiple options of things, and anyone they choose, the parents will support them, you know. But children from poor parents, those children now, they tend to hear conversations about more about survival, debt, because their parents are workers, so they have fewer options, they have fewer things they can choose from. Their options are narrow. They are being coerced heavily compared to the rich man's children. Rich man's children are slightly coerced, compared to poor people's children that are coerced financially. You know, the whole structure is against the poor. You know, and all of that now is information coercion. Information coercion. You are being forced to do something just based on what you are limited to. You know, it's not as if you are choosing it because you want to do it. It's just based on what you are, what you have at your disposal at the moment. What you can choose from, the options available to you. You know, so it's actually sad that even children too are coerced from a very young age. The fourth cage that kind of holds you back is your brain. This machine they are saying, this biological machine that has a brain, has a heart, liver, kidney, and other internal organs. Your brain can coerce you to do things. Normally if you're choosing to do some things, it has to come from your mind. It's when you think of it, you now say, I want to do this. So sometimes your brain can coerce you into doing some things. And your biological system is running on algorithm that is shaped by evolution, your past, and your current state. So for example, now when you're hungry, you think differently. When you're tired, you have less willpower. When you're tired, you don't really feel like doing things. You just feel tired. don't feel like doing anything right now. You get when you're stressed now, you kind of your prefrontal cortex will shut down and your amygdala will take over. The amygdala is in charge of fear. It makes you feel fear. You get so everything that your brain senses, it makes you react to it. If you sense that you're hungry, there's a way you start behaving. If you sense that you're angry, there's a way you start behaving. If you sense that you're stressed or you're tired, there are different ways it will force you into behaving. Even if you don't want to behave that way, you just start behaving that way. You get so I won't call it weakness. I'll just call it biology. You know, I'll just call it human biology. But you need to be aware that these things exist, so you can understand how to understand what's happening to you and around you, so you can make the best choices at all times. Yet, most people don't really know this about themselves, so they blame themselves. They will say things like, I'm lazy." It's not like you're lazy; you're just depressed. Yet, someone will be like, "I have no discipline. It's hard for me to continue something once I start." That is not really the case. You're just feeling exhausted, most likely. You know, if you make bad choices, sometimes you're kind of responding to fear. So for every action, there's an opposite reaction. For everything that happened, there is a cause. So understanding what is the cause, what caused something to happen, is understanding the key, the walls that is surrounding you, that is limiting you, you know. In a way, also too, I would say the system is genius. You know, when I say the system is genius is because nobody actually sat down to start thinking, let me design a system that will coerce people. It's just something that happened. You know, it just happened. Even the educational system that our colonial administrators have been enforcing for over a decade, you know, now it is normal. People are even praying to even go to school. But when this stuff started back then, they had to enforce it. But because of the way they enforced it back then, it's now looking normal now to people. You know, the economy kind of needs people that are desperate enough to accept whatever is given to them, even if it's not up to what they want. You know, it makes good use of that feature. You know, and it's not good. It's not good. It's not good actually. They'll just pay you enough to survive. You imagine someone earning 150K, someone earning 200,000. What would they use that money to do? They'll just give you what can keep you going, so that you keep on coming back to work, showing up week by week, month by month. Time is going, your years are going. You still be serving a company that is just using you. You know, so it's deep. Oh. There's no reason for you to blame yourself for most of the things that you do, because you are most likely being coerced to do it. You know, the social system kind of needs conformity. It wants everybody to do things a certain way. So it kind of applies pressure to your family. Your family can pressure you into doing something. Your friends can pressure you into doing something. You know, those that you care about, they'll apply some kind of pressure on the people around you. Then if you don't follow the script, if you check everything properly, you see that it's the system that is forcing your mom to apply that pressure on you. So indirectly, you are being coerced by the system. Like I told you, the system is the biggest threat. The biggest threat. Mm. The way it works, it doesn't even work with force. You just be like, I'm doing this because I want to do it. But do you actually want to do it, or you were coerced to do it, and ever since then you've been doing it on your own. You've been doing this automatically, thinking you're doing it from free will. You're not doing it from free will. Hey, you're doing it from free will. You know, and when you start to understand that you didn't really choose something, but you were coerced into doing it, then you can now live without shame and say to yourself, the system doesn't work for me. I'm building something for myself. So instead of feeling sad that you didn't do something well or something like that, check the things around you, the constraints around you. Yeah, then I find out which of the constraints exactly were pregnant in were present in your last situation that made you to make a wrong decision. You get. So if you understand it now, you can now know that okay, I didn't choose this. I was coerced into doing it. So I can live with shame. Then you can be like, okay, let's build something better for ourselves. Then we're talking about the reasons why this thing matter, why understanding the existence of coercion matters and more. You might be thinking, okay, so I've heard I'm coerced, I don't have free will, so what am I meant to do? Because since everything I do is being coerced, that kind of thing. First, you need to stop blaming yourself for things that happen to you. There's something that happened to you that is beyond your power. You don't need to blame yourself for the outcome of things that happen that is not really within your control. Yeah, so stop blaming yourself. If you're struggling with money, it look like you're not working hard enough. But when you understand coercion, you can look at the system, maybe entry level salary are kind of low, but housing costs too much also too. So that's like double trouble. Yet, so you need to stop blaming yourself for some things and ask yourself, how can I navigate this turmoil that I'm in easily? That will be peaceful for me and my family. You know, there are even some systematic problems that it's only when you see them as systematic that you can now work strategically to solve them, because systematic means that's just how the world operates. That's how the civilization operates of the world, I guess. So those things that some are systematic and you need to interact with it to find a better way to get what you want. So stop blaming yourself for most of the things you do. It's not like I see you're 100% doing what you want to do. You're being coerced to do it most of the time. You're being coerced to do it most of the time. You know. Then if you're looking at okay, what is the point of understanding coercion, or what is the benefit you get? So there are some reasons why I can outline to you as why I feel your understanding of the existence of coercion and how it coerces you is quite important. You know, it kind of make you to stop blaming yourself. When you understand the concept of coercion, you stop blaming yourself for some things. You now start looking at, okay, XYZ is happening, and it's happening because of this. How can I influence the thing that is causing it, or make it work for you, or something like that? It makes you to develop empathy. You know, your friend can make a decision that is stupid, and they will be like, I've done the worst, I've this, I've that. You know, you can explain to them that they didn't really do it based on free will or coercion, and point out the points to that your friend, so he or she can get better in life. You know, sometimes when you believe that everything is free will, you will judge yourself, because to be like, you're the one responsible for everything. Meanwhile, you're not responsible for most of them. You know, you're not responsible for most of them. But as well, you know, and that thing that happens when you start understanding this whole stuff of coercion is you become strategic. You become a strategic person. When I'm saying strategic, it's like you you do things that are productive more, things that would add value to you more. You start choosing what you are doing. Don't just allow it as the wind blows, it carries you anywhere it wants. So when you understand circumstances shape your behavior, you will then stop fighting yourself and you start enlightening your environment. You start engineering your environment, like trying to work on it to make it work for you, or you change your environment so you get, but you start becoming strategic because it's like saying someone is trying to spoil your business, but on surface level the person looks harmless. Yeah, but now you're realizing that, oh, these are the coercions that is holding me back. You'll now be able to make some strategic moves against that coercion, I guess, to overcome it. Mm. So most times you're not really fighting nature, you're just working with it. You know, designing systems that make the right choice inevitable is one way that you can ensure you end up making the right decision most of the time. You know, another thing that will happen when you start taking coercion seriously, understanding it, is that you become political. Yes. When I say you become political, I mean your coerced friends now, your colleagues and your friends, there will be some people that are supporting a particular political party and yours is kind of different. Yet, but you need to understand that this thing called coercion, it can either be systemic, these are things that are outside your control, or it can be like individual coercion. So individual coercion now, it can be I just need to work harder or this or that, those are not the way to think, because doing it harder or better is not exactly why that thing works for that person. It doesn't work for you. You cannot whip your way out of poverty, even if you have a strong will. A strong will does not take you out of poverty. It's offering service and doing something productive that you can exchange for value. Yet, so one thing you can start doing is you can start asking yourself questions like, what am I benefiting from? Get what systems am I trapped in? Those kind of things. So you'll be able to start observing, knowing, and start using it to your benefit, not like allowing anyone to just come and make your life a living hell. You get? So you need to ask yourself those questions. And when you ask yourself those questions, you will now find answers that can guide you properly. You get? You find out things you need to do or things you can do that will make life easier for you. You get? So coercion is not like something that most people know, because they feel they have free will. Like I said earlier, free will is a myth. Free will is a myth. The only way freedom that you can have, freedom itself is not even the absence of constraint. Freedom is when you are when you're expanding your options within reality, within the way things are now. You are giving yourself more options. Remember, the more money you have, the more options you have. You giving yourself options is what makes you feel this sense of I'm getting free or I am free. You get that kind of thing. And things that can give you this sense of freedom, you get financial resources, still money. Money gives you option. When you don't have money, every choice you make is from survival. Everything is from desperation. But when you have money, you can decide to do what you want to do. Not just what is acceptable, but you do what you want to do. Even some people, their constraints are even combination of multiple constraints. It's not just one. Hey, some people is multiple constraints. So number two factor is um information. Yeah, information. I'll go with information because it's only what you're informed of that you can start understanding. Yet it's only what you're informed of. You know, and that one is social belonging. Yet if you're able to choose your values instead of following the script that everybody's following, yet you can also find communities that align with what you want or what you like or what you believe in. You know, this way now you are still doing well for yourself. Yet another reason is to make you have self-knowledge, to make you understand yourself, understand your world, understand what you could do and what you could not do. You know, so you need to understand yourself. You need to know yourself very, very well. Understand your patterns, understand your trauma, but basically understand yourself to the point that nothing about you is not known to you. You know everything about yourself. You know things about yourself properly. You get, and if you want to build this, you want to build self-knowledge of yourself, you need to like go for, you can have therapy alone, you can just reflect with a journal, be writing down things, be writing down points, you get, find people on the same journey with you and you can collaborate with them. You get, it's easier when you guys are together than when it's only you doing it on your own. You know, collective power also to, yeah, collective power. You cannot really change the system alone. You can't really change how elections are done in Nigeria alone by yourself. You need to come together, let everybody agree on one thing before it is being done. You know. So some practical steps that you can take. You can, if you want to understand yourself more, these are some things you can do. Like you can first of all identify what's coercing you majorly. Everybody has what is coercing them. You need to identify your own, what is coercing you. You know, write down one area of your life where you feel you're stuck, you're not really progressing. Is it your career, your relationship, your finances, anything? You know, when you know what is working on you, you will know how to handle it. You will know how to get around it, how to overcome it. Yet, so if you ask yourself now, what cage is that? Is it a financial cage? No, is it financial coercion when you need money to do something, but you don't have the money? You will not be coerced to do a different thing. That's financial coercion. You know, or is societal coercion? That's like when your family has expectations from you, your late auntie in the your auntie in the village, your uncle, this and that. They're expecting some kind of messages from you, and you're not doing those things now. That one is social coercion. Get even information coercion self. You don't even know what is possible. It's only what they tell you is possible that you think is possible. That's how information coercion works. When they use the fact that you are not informed to just tell you what they want you to know. Yet, so you need to note all these things down. Just take your time to think it through, note it down, be noting them down so you will know all the things that are coercing you. Then you can now take action from there. You know. Another thing that you can do is act strategically. You know, instead of how can I use my strengths to overcome this situation or this or that, you just need to ask yourself the right questions comfortably. You know, ask yourself, do you need more finances? If you need more finances, you need to cut down on expenses. That is too budgeting. You need to do budgeting, cut down expenses, build your income. You know, if you need more information, you can always watch news, TV, or news channels or stuff like that, and you'll be informed of what is happening. You know, There's many points, but those ones and like if, for example, now if you ask yourself, do you need self knowledge? So do you like understand your behavior? Do you understand what makes you do what you do? Or you're just doing things and you don't really know why you're doing it? No, there is a point where everything is happening. So you need to understand why is this happening to me? What is it that I'm lacking that is making me experience this? Stuff like that. Another one again is building strategically. When you're building strategically, you kind of you pick one freedom, then now systematically build over it for like 90 days. You know, decide just observe something that is currently coercing you and observe it properly. Get pick one freedom, get and build on it for like 90 days. That's like 3 months. Keep on building and building and building. After a while, you see that the way you see things will change, the way you'll be behaving will change based on that small improvement too. So now imagine you keep on compounding on that, improving on so many other areas of life. You will have definitely gone very far. You know. Man, this life I just are being controlled left, right, and center and we think we have free will. You know. The hard truth of all of this is that coercion does not understanding coercion does not guarantee success. It doesn't mean once you like understand this whole thing, understand how you're being coerced, understand how the system is working against you. It doesn't mean that you're going to turn out a billionaire instantaneously or something like that. You know, real freedom is kind of messier than fantasy freedom. Fantasy freedom is when you're just wishing. If wishes are horses, donkeys ride. You know, all those kind of things. So it's better for you to be aware of the cage you're in and you're actively trying to break out of it than for you to never know that you're in a cage and you think you're just in the normal place, you know, that kind of thing. So free will is a lie. Free will is a lie. There's nothing like free will for humans. There's nothing like free will currently for humans. No. Because if you're actually free, then your failures would be like entirely on you if you feel you are free, but you are not free. You are being coerced. So since you are being coerced, you can't be judged 100% when something is acting upon you to do something. Yes, it's not like as if you are broken. You are not broken. You're just coerced. As simple as that. The whole system wants you to make you to feel like there's something wrong with you or stuff like that, but that's not it. No. The system wants you to believe that you are free, so you blame yourself when you struggle. Those kind of attitude will keep you trapped. Yes, but once you see the cage that surrounds you, you can understand the constraints and recognize where the person was receiving it from. Might as well. It is well. It is well. So this is just basically for everyone to understand how coercion works. Understand that you're being coerced in one form or the other. And you cannot escape all coercions. It's not possible. But you expand your freedom. As you're going higher, you're expanding your freedom. You know. So basically that is it. That's what I wanted to talk to you about coercion. So you understand how you are being coerced, you understand how to use it, to understand the things you need to do, how to do what you need to do, just to elevate yourself slowly and steadily. So if you take most of these things that I've said to you and take it seriously, you would see that you'll be seeing a different result. You know. But as well. So please stop blaming yourself for everything you do. Most of them are not from you. They're either from your parents or from people that have been around you in your hostel or something like that. But it's all good. It's all good. So just put yourself first at all times. Put yourself first. And don't let yourself to be coerced easily. Why is that? So if you have any question, just let me know. We would respond to most of it in due time. All right.